Hi everyone, it's nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to today's installment of Pigmentation Appreciation. On a previous installment, I talked about the 21 Years of Terror in Louisiana, and I finished that installment in Thibodeau, and the name of that massacre was Blood in the Cane Fields. And I emphasized that I emphasized that because of how sugarcane plantations are entwined in the life of slave trade. And so Thibodeau was a union-busting occurrence. People were trying to get a living wage. History repeating itself. But as far as the cane fields go, right? Sugarcane was a direct driver of the slave trade. Hold on a sec. So in the 1400s, the Catholic Church gave the decree, the doctrine of discovery, okay? And the Portuguese jumped right on board. The Portuguese were the initial drivers of the slave trade and participated throughout. So they started sugarcane plantations, and they introduced sugarcane plantations out in the Azores as early as 1445, or they began introducing and began producing by 1450. And so that was one of the initiating forces of the slave transportation, because Portugal was bringing enslaved people in through Lisbon and supplying a demand in Europe, an initial demand in Europe. But once the value of the sugarcane was realized, the growth exploded. And in order to meet the demand of the sugarcane, what is that? The demand for sugar, the growth of sugarcane became the industry. And in order to meet the demand of the industry, needed more plantations. And the Portuguese began transporting captured and enslaved people to Brazil, and then the Central Americas, and then finally up into the colonies and into the U.S. Well, Columbus started in the Dominican Republic also, but it's the same time frame and the same roots, right? It started here and went, hold on. It started there and went here, right? See that little line going up through Lisbon and right? So that's where it started, and then it literally exploded. And it was down in Brazil, and it was all through plantations and enslaved people. And this is where the indigenous were enslaved initially, and more people were brought over. And sugarcane expanded because the area of growth was so fertile. So sugarcane drove or financed the movement and sale of enslaved people. And you see it says 1500 to 1900, right? So clearly those are elastic boundaries, because it started in the early 1400s. And it was outlawed in the U.S. Conducting business in the slave trade was outlawed in the United States in 1800. I think 1808, right? So there we are. That's the end of the slave trade, although this does say 1900. So we understand that when things are said to have stopped, momentum. I mean, that's the easiest way to express it for me. Even though it was supposed to have stopped, the volume, demand, and momentum of the trade had to be extinguished. And so, you know, here we are at 1800-ish. And now we're going to go from 1800-ish forward. We've covered 18 to 1870, 1880. So we're going to pick up over there. But we're not going to pick up over there today, right? Today, I'm going to wrap up and offer my appreciation for everyone that's coming along with me, because this is a self-education that I want to share, and is a superficially brief exposure to this information. But this is why history is so important, because learning history gives us context for where we are today and how we got here. And that emphasizes the importance of this to me right now. Love you. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're safe. I'll see you next time.